Welcome to the MBA50 video series. I'm with Kamm Kartchner, who's about to complete his MBA at INSEAD. Kamm, thanks very much for being with us.
Absolutely.
Can you share a little bit of your background?
My background, I'm not a conventional MBA student, I guess, by most standards. I come from a small town in Arizona. During my undergraduate, I was working a construction job to pay my way through school. Construction company went out of business, but I still needed a job, so I picked up some of the clients and started doing some work for them. Turned it into a small company of my own. I did that all through undergrad, was doing over $1 million in sales and managing 50 employees during that time. And knew that it wasn't a long-term thing for me. Wanted to graduate still and get some other experience, so I sold the company, graduated from school, and then took a position with Johnson & Johnson in a sales and marketing role. Mm-hmm. And was with them for almost 4 years.
Why choose outside of the United States for your MBA?
I knew that I wanted to be involved with international business. Right. So INSEAD obviously has a nice flair for international affairs. Right. So it was obviously a top choice. I also liked the fact that it was a one-year program. Mm. That made a big difference to me. I'm a little older than. Well, you know, honestly, I looked at the schools in the United States. I applied to Harvard, looked seriously at their program. It's obviously a great program. I already had probably 5 years on most of the students, on the average student in Harvard. And I thought, well, you know, I actually fit in with the population in the European schools a little more, especially at INSEAD.
Right. I mean, you started by describing yourself as an atypical student.
Yes.
But is there a typical student here?
Oh, there's a lot of us here that are consultants or investment bankers, which, as we know, typically go the MBA route. Hmm. So coming from a sales background, an entrepreneurial background, and so that makes me a little bit different. Hmm.
You're close to now completing the program.
Yes.
And the sense of how has it delivered what you were looking for and what you feel you've actually got out of it?
The things I wanted to get out of it were the education, obviously. Mm. I wanted to learn something while I was here. Mm. I wanted to build my network so that I could, like you said, it was a platform for me going forward. I wanted to build the relationships that would help me get to where I wanted to be in the future. Mm. And INSEAD's got one of the best alumni networks in the world, one of the most diverse international alumni networks in the world. So theoretically, I could do business anywhere and instantly have contacts. Right. So I would say with those two key things that I was looking for, the education's been absolutely fantastic. They say we squeeze 80% of a 2-year program into 10.5 months.
You felt that?
I felt that. It was harder than most jobs I've ever had. But I'd have to say that enhanced the learning, honestly. Yeah, you don't have time to study every word out of every case that you ever read, and you honestly have to prioritize and do what's going to be most important for you, which is, that's real life.
Are there examples of things that you have learned that obviously you're going to take with you, but that really made an impression?
Absolutely. One of the most influential courses for me here was one called Realizing Entrepreneurial Potential, because I came to INSEAD with the idea, my next step in the career was to acquire a company, a buy and build strategy. I wanted to buy a small company and build it up and then sell it down the road. Basically, I'm a private equity fund without a fund, if you will. So I found this, so there's a course here, the course I mentioned, where the professor's actually done that and he has experience in that. He comes back and teaches us the steps he took, the pitfalls to watch out for, and how to actually go through the process of finding a company, evaluating the industry, making an offer on the company, and then turning around and running the company after you bought it. So that's probably been one of the best classes as far as education and learning that has a lot of real life application and relevant application to me immediately.
How is that learning experience structured here so that you feel you've got real sort of takeaway knowledge and things to work on?
That's a great question. Part of the course requirement was actually to go out and find a company, to evaluate it, and talk to the owner, talk about selling the business, talk about what he was wanting to get out of it, talk about what you were willing to offer, whether or not you buy the business or not. It was to shop around, if you will. Right. So I actually found a really good business during that process, which I have since made an offer on, and I'm negotiating terms with the seller right now.
Right.
So if all goes well, that could be my job here in a month.
Right. Can you teach entrepreneurship?
I think you can teach entrepreneurship. What's hard to teach is the willingness to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Lots of people say they want to be an entrepreneur. It's when it comes right down to it, it's hard. It's hard for anybody to take that step and really do it when there's so many more secure jobs, I guess, if you will. There's a lot of pressure there, uncertainty going forward. It's nice when somebody comes in and offers you, okay, I've got a job here, you know, you can be a consultant, I've got a signing bonus for you, we'll make sure you get moved and everything. All of that stuff's taken care of for you, you've got a monthly paycheck. Right. Of course, when you're an entrepreneur, you've got no guarantee of anything. Right, right. But I'm president of the entrepreneurship club here on campus, so I get to work with a lot of the people that want to be entrepreneurs.
Does that create a virtuous circle of sort of feeding off one another's willingness to take risk and spurring one another on?
Absolutely.
As the president of the club, right?
Absolutely. So I get people coming to me all the time, you know, I've been looking at this project, but you know, I'm really worried, there's a lot of risk here, and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of risk there. You got to make sure you know how to mitigate that risk, and you know, how are you going to manage this, how are you going to manage this? And there's a lot of great professors here, there's great advisors here that have been through these situations and really help us along.
Good. Well, whether it be the company you're looking to purchase or whatever those steps, good luck with that, and thank you very much for this interview. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Kamm.
Thanks for having me.